The Power of Silence. Make everything flow in your favor. Written and published by Audiobook Lover. Have you ever felt like life is just too loud? The noise of your daily responsibilities, the endless distractions, the constant pressure to do more, be more, and achieve more. It's exhausting, right? What if I told you that the secret to getting everything you want in life, success, happiness, peace, could actually come from embracing silence instead of running from it? This isn't some abstract idea. It's real, and it's simpler than you might think. The power of silence isn't about shutting out the world or being alone. It's about creating space within yourself to hear what's truly important. It's about aligning with a deeper sense of purpose and letting that guide your actions, instead of just reacting to everything around you. In this book, I'll show you how to use silence as a tool that actually works for you. It's not about doing less, it's about doing the right things at the right time in the right way. Imagine making decisions with clarity, navigating challenges with ease, and moving toward your goals without the stress or struggle. That's the power of silence. It's not about waiting for things to happen, it's about creating the right environment for things to flow naturally toward you. I know it sounds simple, but it's not always easy. So stick with me as we explore how silence can help you clear away the noise and make everything fall into place. By the end of this, you'll have a new perspective on how to live with more peace, focus, and success without the burnout. Let's dive in and discover how silence can truly change your life. Chapter 1. The Science of Silence. How it transforms your mind and body. Silence is not just the absence of noise, it is the foundation of clarity, creativity, and healing. In the modern world, where every moment is filled with the hum of activity, the ping of notifications, and the constant demand for attention, silence has become a forgotten art. Yet, if you've ever sat in complete stillness, even for a moment, you'll know the profound impact it can have. It's as if your mind finally exhales after holding its breath for too long. That exhale is where transformation begins. Science tells us that silence isn't merely peaceful, it's powerful. It transforms the way our minds function, repairs our bodies, and creates space for growth and insight. But before we dive into what silence can do for you, I want you to pause and ask yourself this: when was the last time you truly allowed yourself to sit in silence without reaching for your phone, turning on music, or distracting yourself? Most of us fill our days with noise because we've been conditioned to believe that silence is empty. The truth is, silence is anything but empty. It is alive with possibility. Let's talk about the brain for a moment. Your brain is like a highly sophisticated machine, constantly processing an avalanche of information. Every sound, every conversation, every tiny notification you get is like another piece of data it has to sort, file, and store. Imagine if you were working in a room where someone was shouting instructions at you all day long. You'd never be able to focus on the task at hand. That's exactly what happens to your brain when it doesn't get a break from noise. Studies have shown that silence has the power to reset your brain. Neuroscientists have discovered that even 2 hours of silence can lead to the growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, learning, and emotional regulation. Think about that for a moment. Silence doesn't just help you feel calmer, it literally rewires your brain, making it stronger, sharper, and more capable. There's more. When your surroundings are quiet, your brain's default mode network, DMN, becomes active. The DMN is what allows you to reflect, solve problems, and connect dots you didn't even know existed. You know those aha moments you sometimes have in the shower or while taking a walk? That's your DMN at work. And silence is its best friend. When you give yourself space to think, Without the constant barrage of external noise, you unlock creativity and insight that can transform your life. But it's not just your brain that benefits from silence. Your body, too, thrives in stillness. Noise has been shown to increase levels of cortisol, the stress hormone that puts your body into a state of fight or flight. Chronic exposure to noise, whether it's traffic, the hum of electronics, or even loud conversations, can lead to higher blood pressure, increased heart rate, and heightened anxiety. Silence, on the other hand, does the opposite. It reduces cortisol levels, lowers your blood pressure, and allows your nervous system to shift into a state of relaxation and repair. You might be wondering, how does something so simple, something as ordinary as silence, have such extraordinary effects? The answer lies in the fact that silence creates space. When the external world grows quiet, you can finally hear what's happening inside. Your thoughts become clearer, your emotions settle, and your body starts to let go of the tension it's been holding. It's like wiping a fogged-up mirror clean. You begin to see yourself and your life with greater clarity. This isn't just theoretical. Think about the times in your life when you felt truly at peace. Maybe it was sitting by a quiet lake, walking through a forest, or simply lying in bed before the rest of the world woke up. Those moments stand out because they're rare. They remind you of what it feels like to simply be. And in that state of being, you find your greatest strength. If you're feeling overwhelmed by life, if you're stuck in a cycle of stress, anxiety, or burnout, silence might be the medicine you need. Start small. Find 5 minutes in your day to sit in stillness. Turn off your phone, close your eyes, and just breathe. At first it might feel uncomfortable. Your mind might race with thoughts, or you might feel the urge to get up and do something. That's normal, but if you stick with it, you'll notice a shift. Your thoughts will begin to slow, your breath will deepen, and you'll start to feel a sense of calm that can carry you through the rest of your day. The beauty of silence is that it's always available to you. You don't need fancy equipment, a specific setting, or a lot of time. All you need is the willingness to pause and listen to yourself, to your surroundings, and to the wisdom that silence holds. As you begin to embrace silence, you'll notice changes not just in how you feel, but in how you show up in the world. You'll find yourself reacting less and reflecting more. You'll start to notice the details of life, the way sunlight filters through the trees, the sound of your own heartbeat, the subtle emotions behind someone's words. This heightened awareness will help you make better decisions, connect more deeply with others, and approach challenges with a sense of calm and confidence. Silence is not a luxury, it's a necessity. In a world that constantly demands your attention, taking time to sit in stillness is an act of self-care and self-respect. It's a way of saying, I choose clarity over chaos. I choose to prioritize my well-being. So the next time you find yourself reaching for your phone out of habit, stop. Instead, take a moment to be silent. Listen to the sound of your breath, the rhythm of your heart, or the stillness around you. It might feel unfamiliar at first, but over time, it will become your greatest source of strength. Silence has the power to transform your mind, heal your body, and guide you toward a life of flow and ease. All it takes is the courage to embrace it, because in the end, silence isn't empty, it's full of possibility, and it's waiting for you to step into its power. Chapter 2. Finding stillness in a chaotic world. Have you ever felt like the world is moving so fast that you can't keep up? Like there's a constant hum of chaos around you, and no matter how hard you try, it's impossible to find a moment of peace. The truth is, in the midst of all that noise, we lose something essential, the ability to hear ourselves think, to connect with what really matters, to feel grounded and in control. But there's a secret, a hidden power that most people overlook. It's silence. And in a world that never stops shouting, the ability to find stillness is like having a superpower. Silence is not just the absence of noise, it's a space where clarity, strength and creativity are born. But finding silence in a chaotic world is easier said than done. We live in a time where every second is filled with something: notifications, conversations, distractions or background noise. We've become so accustomed to this constant stream of input that silence feels strange, even uncomfortable. And yet, silence is the one thing that can give you back control over your life. It's where you reconnect with yourself and rediscover the flow you've been missing. Think about this. When was the last time you sat in complete stillness? Not scrolling on your phone, not thinking about the next thing on your to-do list, but truly being present in silence. Most of us can't even remember. The problem is, we've been trained to equate silence with boredom or idleness, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Silence isn't empty, it's full of insight, healing and strength. When you stop and let the noise settle, you can finally see what's been buried underneath. And in that clarity, you find the answers you've been searching for. Imagine waking up tomorrow and starting your day with 5 minutes of pure stillness. No distractions, no interruptions, just you and the sound of your own breath. In those 5 minutes, something powerful happens. You begin to notice the tension in your body and let it go. Your thoughts, which are usually racing in 100 different directions, start to slow down. And in that stillness, you feel something you might not have felt in a long time. Peace. The beauty of silence is that it doesn't just calm your mind, it transforms the way you experience the world. When you learn to embrace stillness, you stop reacting to life and start responding. Think about how often we let external chaos dictate our mood. Someone cuts us off in traffic, and we're angry for the rest of the day. A rude comment from a stranger throws us off balance. But when you cultivate silence, you create a buffer between the noise of the world and your inner peace. You realize that you don't have to react to everything. You can pause, breathe, and decide how you want to respond. In a chaotic world, silence is like pressing the reset button on your mind. It's in those quiet moments that you gain perspective and remember what truly matters. You start to see the bigger picture instead of getting caught up in the little things that don't really matter. That's the power of silence. It gives you back control. And when you're in control, everything flows more naturally. You might be wondering how to even begin finding silence when life feels so overwhelming. The truth is, it's simpler than you think. Start small. Begin with just 1 minute a day. Find a quiet corner, close your eyes, and focus on your breathing. That's it. 1 minute. At first it might feel strange, even uncomfortable. Your mind will probably race, trying to fill the void with thoughts. But don't fight it. Just let the thoughts come and go, like clouds passing in the sky. Over time, that 1 minute will feel like a gift. And as you grow more comfortable with silence, you can extend it to 5 minutes, then 10, then more. The key is to make it a habit. Silence isn't something you experience once and forget. It's something you return to again and again. Think of it as a practice, like brushing your teeth or exercising. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes, and the greater the benefits. Over time, you'll notice that you're less stressed, more focused, and better able to handle whatever life throws at you. But silence isn't just about finding peace in the moment. It's about creating a life that feels aligned and effortless. When you make space for stillness, you start to notice the things that really matter: your passions, your purpose, your relationships. You become more present with the people you love because you're no longer distracted by the noise in your mind. You make better decisions because you're able to see situations clearly without being clouded by stress or anxiety. And most importantly, you reconnect with yourself, the part of you that knows exactly what you need to feel happy, fulfilled, and whole. One of the most incredible things about silence is that it teaches you to listen, not just to the world around you, but to yourself. When the noise fades away, you can hear your own intuition, your own wisdom. You start to trust yourself in a way you never have before, and that trust is what allows you to move through life with confidence and ease. You stop second-guessing every decision or worrying about what other people think because you know deep down that you're on the right path. So how do you bring more silence into your life? Start by identifying the sources of noise that are within your control. Maybe it's the constant stream of notifications on your phone, the background music you always have playing, or the habit of scrolling through social media whenever you have a spare moment. Try turning off those distractions, even for a short time, and notice how it feels. You might be surprised by how refreshing it is to simply be present. Another way to cultivate silence is to spend time in nature. There's something about being in a quiet, natural setting that naturally soothes the mind and brings you back to yourself. Whether it's a walk in the park, sitting by a lake, or simply stepping outside to breathe in the fresh air, these moments of connection can be incredibly grounding. Nature has a way of reminding us of the beauty and simplicity of life, and it's often in these moments of stillness that we gain our greatest insights. As you begin to embrace silence, you'll find that it starts to show up in other areas of your life. You'll speak less and listen more, creating deeper connections with the people around you. You'll approach challenges with a sense of calm and clarity, instead of reacting impulsively. And most importantly, you'll feel more aligned with who you are and what you truly want. Silence isn't just a tool for navigating a chaotic world, it's a way of life. It's a reminder that even in the noisiest of times, you have the power to create your own peace. So take a moment right now to pause, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and listen to the silence within you. That's where your strength lies. That's where everything begins to flow. Chapter 3. The Voice Within. Using silence to build self-awareness. Have you ever stopped to wonder why some people seem to move through life with a sense of calm and clarity, while others are constantly overwhelmed, unsure, and out of sync with themselves? It's not because they've got it all figured out, or because life has been particularly kind to them. It's because they've mastered something incredibly simple, yet profoundly powerful: listening to their inner voice. And here's the truth. It's not that their voice is louder than yours, it's that they've learned to hear it through the noise. The voice within is always there, patiently waiting for you to tune in. It's not pushy, it doesn't demand your attention, and it won't fight to be heard over the chaos of your thoughts or the noise of the outside world. But when you create space for it, something extraordinary happens. That voice, your intuition, starts to guide you, and it doesn't lead you astray. It knows what you need, what you're capable of, and how to get where you want to go. Yet, so many of us live our lives completely disconnected from it, letting the noise of the world drown out the one thing that can truly guide us toward fulfillment. Why does this happen? It's because we've been conditioned to look outward for answers. We've been taught that the solutions to our problems lie in the advice of others, in the latest trends, or in the validation we get from social media. But the truth is, no one knows you better than you know yourself. No one else can feel what you feel, see what you see, or understand what drives you deep down. Your inner voice is your compass, your guide, and your most reliable source of wisdom. But to access it, you need to learn how to silence the noise and truly listen. The first step to connecting with your inner voice is to give it the space it needs to come through. And that means creating moments of quiet in your day. This doesn't have to be anything elaborate or time-consuming. It could be as simple as taking a few minutes to sit in stillness before you start your day, or stepping outside to breathe in the fresh air without any distractions. In those moments of silence, you might be surprised at what comes up. Thoughts, ideas or feelings that have been buried under the surface begin to rise. And as they do, you start to notice patterns: what excites you, what drains you, what feels right, and what doesn't. The challenge, of course, is that we're often afraid of what we might hear. Listening to your inner voice means confronting your truth, and that can be uncomfortable. Maybe you've been ignoring a dream because it feels too risky, or maybe you've been staying in a situation that no longer serves you because it feels safe. Your inner voice doesn't sugarcoat things, it tells it like it is. But that's where its power lies. It doesn't just point out what's wrong, it also shows you what's possible. It reminds you of your potential, your strength, and your ability to create a life that feels authentic and meaningful. One of the most powerful ways to tune into your inner voice is through journaling. When you take the time to write down your thoughts and feelings, you create a dialogue with yourself. You give your inner voice a platform to express itself, and in doing so you start to build a relationship with it. Journaling isn't about writing the right things or coming up with profound insights, it's about being honest. Write about your fears, your dreams, your frustrations, and your hopes. Over time, you'll notice that the act of putting pen to paper helps you clarify your thoughts and uncover the wisdom that's been inside you all along. Another way to strengthen your connection with your inner voice is to spend time in nature. There's something about being in a natural setting that naturally quiets the mind and opens the heart. Maybe it's the sound of the wind in the trees, the feel of the earth beneath your feet, or the sight of a vast, open sky. Whatever it is, nature has a way of reminding us of what's real and true. It strips away the distractions and reconnects us with something deeper. In those moments, your inner voice feels closer, clearer, and easier to trust. Trusting your inner voice is one of the most liberating things you can do. It doesn't mean you'll always have all the answers or that you won't make mistakes. But it does mean that you'll start living in alignment with your true self. You'll make decisions that feel right, even if they don't make sense to others. You'll pursue the things that light you up, even if they feel scary or uncertain. And you'll learn to let go of what no longer serves you, even if it's hard. Because deep down, your inner voice knows what's best for you, and it's always guiding you toward growth, fulfillment, and joy. But here's the thing: listening to your inner voice isn't a one-time thing. It's a practice, a commitment you make to yourself every day. And like any practice, it takes time and patience to develop. There will be days when the noise feels overwhelming and your inner voice feels distant. That's okay. What matters is that you keep showing up, keep creating space for stillness, and keep trusting that your voice is there, even if you can't always hear it clearly. As you begin to reconnect with your inner voice, you'll notice something amazing. Life starts to flow more effortlessly. Decisions that once felt difficult become easier. Opportunities that align with your values and passions seem to appear out of nowhere. Relationships become more authentic and fulfilling because you're showing up as your true self. And perhaps most importantly, you start to feel a deep sense of peace and confidence, knowing that you're living in alignment with who you are. The voice within is your greatest ally, your most trusted guide, and your most powerful source of wisdom. It's always there, waiting for you to listen. So take a moment right now to pause. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what is my inner voice telling me? Then listen, truly listen, because the answers you've been searching for are already within you, just waiting to be heard. Chapter 4. Silence as your emotional compass. Have you ever been caught in a situation where your emotions feel like they're controlling you? One moment, you're calm and collected, and the next you're overwhelmed by anger, fear, or frustration. It's as if these emotions have a life of their own, and you're just along for the ride. What if I told you that there's a way to not only manage your emotions, but to use them as a tool for greater clarity and peace? That's right. Emotions don't have to control you. If you learn to harness them, they can become a powerful ally in your life. The first thing we need to understand is that emotions aren't inherently bad or good. They simply are. Emotions are messengers, signaling something deeper within us. Maybe it's fear because we're facing something unknown. Maybe it's anger because we feel hurt or threatened. Or maybe it's sadness because we've experienced loss. These emotions are not there to derail us. They are trying to tell us something. But here's the catch: if we react impulsively to our emotions, if we allow them to dictate our actions without taking a moment to pause and reflect, we end up making decisions that we might regret. This is where silence comes into play. When you're in the midst of a strong emotion, it's easy to react without thinking. You snap at someone in anger, make a rash decision out of fear, or shut down when you feel overwhelmed. But in that moment, if you can create a space of silence, just a few seconds of stillness, you give yourself the chance to process what's happening, instead of being at the mercy of your emotions. That pause is everything. It's the difference between reacting out of instinct and responding with intention. Think about a time when you've been in a conflict, maybe with a partner, a friend, or a colleague. When emotions are high, it's easy for things to escalate. You say something you don't mean, or they say something that triggers you, and suddenly the conversation is out of control. But imagine if, instead of reacting immediately, you took a moment of silence. You took a breath, stepped back from the situation, and allowed yourself to just sit with the emotion. In that brief pause, you might realize that your anger wasn't really about what the other person said. It was a deeper frustration or fear that was triggered by something else. You might also recognize that the other person's words weren't intended to hurt you, but to express their own pain or frustration. This ability to step back and allow yourself to feel your emotions without reacting is incredibly powerful. It doesn't mean you're suppressing your feelings or pretending they don't exist. It means you're allowing yourself to feel them without letting them control you. You're creating space to process, to understand, and to respond in a way that aligns with your true self. There's a concept in mindfulness called non-reactivity, and it's a key practice for mastering your emotions. Non-reactivity doesn't mean that you don't feel or experience emotions. It means that you don't let those emotions dictate your actions. When you're not reactive, you're more present in the moment. You're not clouded by impulsive responses or judgments. You're able to observe your emotions as they arise, acknowledge them, and then choose how you want to proceed. When we allow ourselves to react impulsively to our emotions, we often make choices that don't serve us in the long run. We might lash out in anger, shut down in fear, or become defensive in shame. But when we practice non-reactivity, we create space to respond in a way that reflects our true values. For example, in the middle of a conflict, instead of raising your voice or saying something hurtful, you might choose to listen more deeply, to ask questions that clarify the other person's perspective, and to express your own feelings calmly and respectfully. The beauty of non-reactivity is that it allows you to respond to your emotions in a way that is not driven by fear or defensiveness, but by clarity and wisdom. And when you do that, you begin to see that your emotions are not something to fear or suppress. They're simply a tool to guide you toward greater understanding and connection. Of course, this is easier said than done. In moments of intense emotion, it can feel almost impossible to pause and breathe. But the more you practice this skill, the more natural it becomes. It starts with creating small moments of silence throughout your day. You might begin by simply taking a few deep breaths when you feel your emotions rising. You might pause before reacting to a difficult situation, giving yourself just a moment to assess how you feel and what's really at the root of those feelings. As you practice, you'll begin to notice that you're able to respond more thoughtfully, even in high-stress situations. One of the most profound ways silence can help us navigate emotions is by giving us the opportunity to process them fully. Often we try to push our emotions aside because they're uncomfortable or we think we don't have time to deal with them. But when we suppress our emotions, they don't just go away, they build up and resurface in unhealthy ways. By creating space for silence, we allow ourselves the opportunity to sit with our emotions and let them move through us. We give ourselves the permission to feel without judgment. When we can embrace our emotions, instead of resisting them, we unlock a level of emotional intelligence that allows us to navigate life with greater ease. We understand that emotions are not threats but signals. We can honor them without being ruled by them. And when we allow ourselves to fully experience our emotions, we can move through life with greater resilience, strength, and self-awareness. In addition to silence, there's another practice that can help you better understand and manage your emotions: self-reflection. By regularly reflecting on your emotional experiences, what triggered them, how they made you feel, and how you responded, you can gain greater insight into your emotional patterns. Over time, you'll begin to recognize certain triggers and learn how to approach them with more grace and awareness. Reflection is like holding up a mirror to your emotional responses and asking yourself, what am I really feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And how can I respond in a way that aligns with my true self? When you combine the power of silence with self-reflection, you create a space where emotional growth can take place. You start to break free from the automatic, reactive patterns that have been ingrained in you and create new, healthier responses to life's challenges. And the more you practice, the more resilient you become. You no longer feel like a victim of your emotions. Instead, you feel empowered to choose how you want to experience them. Remember, silence doesn't mean shutting yourself off from the world or pretending that emotions don't exist. It means giving yourself permission to pause, to breathe, and to reflect. It's about creating space to understand what you're really feeling and why, so you can respond in a way that reflects who you truly are. And when you do this, you begin to shift the way you experience the world. You stop reacting to life's challenges and start responding to them with intention and clarity. You become the master of your emotions instead of letting them control you. And that, my friend, is where real power lies. Chapter 5: Cultivating Presence, the Gateway to Flow. Have you ever noticed how time seems to slow down when you're completely immersed in something you love doing? Whether it's working on a project that excites you, engaging in a passionate conversation, or simply enjoying a moment of creativity, you feel like you're in the flow, a state where everything clicks and the world around you fades away. You're not thinking about the past or the future, just fully present in the now. This is a state of presence, and it's one of the most powerful ways to achieve your highest potential in life. But here's the thing, we're often so distracted by external noise by the chaos of our daily lives that we forget how to be truly present. The constant buzzing of notifications, the endless to-do lists, and the pressure to always be moving forward pull us away from the moment. We end up reacting to life instead of consciously creating it. This constant distraction pulls us out of the flow and keeps us from experiencing the clarity, peace, and productivity that presence brings. The secret to unlocking the power of flow in your life isn't about working harder or faster. It's about learning how to be still and present. It's about cultivating an inner state of quietude that allows you to tap into your highest potential. It's not about escaping the world or ignoring your responsibilities. Instead, it's about fully engaging with whatever you're doing, whether that's working, playing, or simply being with yourself, without distraction, without resistance, and without worry about the outcome. When you are present, everything flows. Your thoughts align with your actions, your energy becomes focused, and you move through life with a sense of ease and purpose. You make decisions quickly and confidently because you're no longer clouded by doubts or distractions. You feel more alive, more connected to your purpose, and more in control of your own life. You're not rushing from one thing to the next. Instead, you're fully engaged in what's right in front of you, which ironically leads to more productivity, creativity, and fulfillment. So how do you cultivate this presence? The first step is to quiet the noise, both external and internal. The external noise is the easy part to identify: the phone buzzing, the TV blaring, the people around you vying for your attention. But what about the internal noise? That's the constant chatter in your mind, the racing thoughts about what's next, what you should be doing, or the worries and anxieties that creep in when you least expect them. This internal noise is often what keeps us from being fully present. We're so caught up in thinking about what's coming next, or replaying past events in our minds, that we forget to engage with the moment. This is where silence plays a crucial role. When you intentionally create silence, whether it's through meditation, mindfulness, or simply taking a quiet walk, you begin to silence the mental chatter and return to a state of calm presence. In this space, you become more aware of what's happening around you and within you, and you begin to experience the world in a deeper, more meaningful way. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the absence of distraction. It's the space where your mind can relax, where you can let go of all the things that are pulling at your attention. In this space, you can connect with your own thoughts and feelings without being overwhelmed by them. You can hear your own voice, your intuition, and your inner wisdom. And as you practice this, you'll start to notice that the more you engage with silence, the easier it becomes to enter the flow state in all areas of your life. It's not just about sitting quietly for a few minutes and hoping that you'll suddenly feel more connected. It's about learning how to bring that presence into everything you do, whether you're working, talking with a friend, or even doing something as simple as eating. The key is to engage fully in the experience. You might be surprised at how often your mind wanders when you're doing something as mundane as having lunch. But if you take a moment to really taste your food, to notice the textures and flavors, you become fully present in that moment. And in that presence, there is no room for distraction, no room for worry, and no room for regret. There is only now. The more you practice being present in the small moments, the easier it becomes to be present in the big moments. And as you start to cultivate this habit of presence, you'll notice that everything begins to flow more smoothly. You'll find that you're more productive, more focused, and more at peace with yourself and the world around you. You won't be chasing after the next thing or worrying about the next task. Instead, you'll be fully engaged in the moment, trusting that everything you need is right here, right now. But here's the kicker. When you're truly present, you stop thinking of life as a series of tasks to be completed or obstacles to overcome. You start to see it as a series of experiences to be embraced. Each moment becomes an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to be fully alive. And in this space, you discover that success doesn't come from achieving a goal or reaching a milestone. It comes from the ability to be present in each step of the journey. The moment you're in right now is just as valuable as the one you're working toward. The process is just as important as the destination. Think about the times in your life when you've been fully immersed in what you were doing, when you were so absorbed in a project, a conversation, or a creative pursuit that hours seemed to pass in the blink of an eye. In those moments, you weren't thinking about time, you weren't thinking about the future, and you certainly weren't worried about how you were performing. You were simply in the moment. And in that space, everything aligned. You were more productive, more creative, and more fulfilled because you were operating from a place of flow. Flow is what happens when you align with the present moment. It's when your skills, your passion, and your purpose all come together, and the work you're doing becomes effortless. But here's the catch. Flow doesn't happen by force. It's not something you can chase or create through sheer willpower. It happens when you stop trying to control the outcome and simply engage with the process. When you are present, you let go of the need for perfection, the need to impress, and the need to rush. You trust that everything will unfold as it should, and you allow yourself to be fully immersed in what you're doing. This is why presence is so powerful. When you're present, you're not just surviving life, you're thriving in it. You're not constantly looking for the next distraction or the next thing to make you feel better. Instead, you're finding joy, meaning, and fulfillment in the moment you're living right now. And when you're in that space, life naturally flows in your favor. So, how can you start practicing presence today? It starts with small moments of silence and mindfulness. Whether it's taking a few deep breaths before you start your day, setting aside time to meditate, or simply choosing to be fully present in each activity you do, these small actions add up over time. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And the more you practice, the more you begin to experience the flow that comes with being fully engaged in life. Presence isn't something that comes easily for most of us. It requires intention, practice, and patience. But once you start to tap into it, you'll find that everything in your life begins to flow more smoothly. You'll feel more connected to your purpose, more confident in your decisions, and more at peace with yourself and the world around you. The flow is always there, waiting for you to step into it. All you have to do is quiet the noise, embrace the present moment, and trust that everything will unfold as it should. Chapter 6. The Power of Non-Reaction. Using silence to navigate conflict. It's fascinating how much power we give to our reactions. Think about it for a moment. You wake up to a new day, and suddenly, life hits you with a curveball. Maybe it's an email that annoys you, an unexpected problem that arises, or a person who gets under your skin. In that split second, you're faced with a choice. You can react immediately, letting the emotions dictate your next move, or you can take a moment of silence to choose your response. That pause, that's the game changer. The way we respond to the world, especially in moments of tension or conflict, has the power to shape our lives more than any external circumstance. The more we react impulsively, the more we feel out of control, constantly being swept away by emotions, events, and other people's actions. But the opposite is true as well. The more we learn to use silence as a tool for non-reaction, the more control we gain over our own lives. Now, I'm not suggesting that you turn into a passive bystander, numb to the ups and downs of life. No, the goal is far more profound. It's about becoming an active participant in your life, but one who's not ruled by immediate, knee-jerk reactions. It's about learning to pause, to create that space between stimulus and response, where you can truly think, reflect, and then choose the path that aligns with your values, your goals, and your inner peace. Here's the reality we all face. Life doesn't stop throwing challenges at us. People will disappoint you, things will go wrong, and situations will be less than ideal. That's not something you can change, but what you can change is how you respond to all of it. And in that response, silence becomes your greatest ally. I've noticed something incredible about the times when I've been able to step back and not react immediately to stressful situations. It's almost as if my mind clears, and I can see everything more clearly. I'm no longer caught in the emotion of the moment. Instead, I'm observing it from a distance, analyzing the situation rather than reacting to it. And once that moment passes, I can choose to respond in a way that reflects my best self. It's in that space where wisdom is born. That is where true control lies. Take, for instance, a situation where someone says something that triggers you. It could be a comment that feels like an attack, an offhand remark that challenges your values, or something that just doesn't sit right with you. In the past, you might have instantly fired back with your own sharp words, defending yourself or proving a point. But in that silence, in that moment where you hold back from reacting immediately, you create a space to ask yourself a few important questions. Is this worth responding to? What do I really want to achieve here? How will my response affect the situation and the person involved? The most powerful thing about non-reaction is that it allows you to respond with intention, not emotion. Instead of acting out of anger or frustration, you act out of wisdom and clarity. And that's the game changer. When you can step away from immediate emotional reactions, you stop letting the world dictate your mood and your behavior. You take back control of your actions, your emotions, and your peace of mind. This doesn't mean you'll never feel emotions. On the contrary, emotions are a natural part of being human. But when you learn to practice silence before reacting, you give yourself the opportunity to move beyond those immediate feelings and respond in a way that aligns with your true self. Instead of letting the moment dictate your next move, you become the one in control. Think of non-reaction like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. Initially, it may feel awkward. You may find yourself itching to react, to say something in the heat of the moment. But over time, the more you embrace that space of silence, the more natural it becomes. You begin to realize that most things in life are not worth a knee-jerk reaction. The truly important things, the things that align with your values and long-term peace, require reflection, patience, and consideration. There's an incredible freedom in not reacting impulsively. It's like stepping outside of the noise of life and finding a quiet place where you can think clearly. And once you're in that space, you'll be amazed at how much less stressful life feels. No longer are you constantly at the mercy of what's happening around you. Instead, you have the power to respond in a way that empowers you and everyone involved. You stop letting circumstances dictate how you feel, and instead start choosing your emotions and actions consciously. One of the biggest gifts of non-reaction is that it shifts your focus from others to yourself. Instead of focusing on what someone else is doing or saying, you focus on how you can respond in the best possible way. It's a shift from external to internal, from being a victim of the world's actions to becoming the master of your own. And when you start to feel empowered in this way, life feels a lot less like a battle and more like a dance. But let's not forget, non-reaction isn't about shutting yourself off from the world or suppressing your feelings. It's about learning to respond thoughtfully, with intention, and from a place of self-awareness. It's about recognizing that not every situation requires a response. Some moments, especially in conflict, benefit from a little distance, a moment of silence where you can gain perspective, consider your options, and choose the best course of action. This kind of silence isn't about passivity, it's about presence. It's about engaging fully with what's happening around you, but doing so from a place of awareness and wisdom, rather than out of a reactive or impulsive need to fix things. And this kind of presence allows you to approach even the most difficult situations with grace, compassion, and understanding. Let's take an example from a more challenging scenario: conflict in relationships. Whether it's with a partner, a friend, or a colleague, conflicts are inevitable. But how we handle them can make all the difference. The next time a heated argument arises, instead of reacting immediately, take a pause. Give yourself a moment of silence, even if it's just a few seconds. In that silence, ask yourself, what do I want to achieve here? Do I want to win, or do I want to understand and resolve? When you step back and allow yourself that moment of pause, you often realize that your initial reaction might have been driven by emotion rather than logic. Responding in silence gives you the chance to reflect on the bigger picture. What's at stake here? What do you really want to achieve? What's the most constructive response? And as you practice this, you'll notice that you approach conflicts with more composure, more empathy, and a greater willingness to listen and understand, rather than just react. In a world where everyone is constantly reacting, whether it's through social media posts, arguments, or emotional outbursts, it can be difficult to slow down and resist the urge to match the pace of the chaos. But if you can master the art of non-reaction, you'll quickly realize how much calmer, clearer, and more empowered you feel. The noise of the world no longer dictates your emotions, and you can truly begin to create your own reality, shaped by wisdom, compassion, and inner strength. In the end, the most profound change begins within. Non-reaction isn't about avoiding life's challenges, it's about meeting them with a centered, clear mind. It's not about disengaging from the world, but about engaging with it in a way that allows you to stay grounded, peaceful, and true to yourself. And as you practice this, you'll find that life becomes not a series of hurdles to overcome, but a journey to embrace with a sense of calm and control. Chapter 7. Silence and the Law of Attraction, Aligning with Your Desires. You've probably heard people say, "Be careful what you wish for," but what if I told you that your thoughts, your words, and your inner state are not just wishes, they're powerful forces that can shape your reality in ways you may not even realize. The truth is, the law of attraction is not some abstract idea or vague spiritual principle. It's a real, tangible force that you're already interacting with every single day, whether you realize it or not. And the key to unlocking its power lies in mastering silence. You see, most people think of the law of attraction as something that's entirely dependent on the things they say or do, as if the universe is listening for their words and actions. But what if the most important element isn't your words at all? What if it's the space between your words, the silence in your thoughts, the stillness that allows you to focus on what truly matters? The law of attraction doesn't just respond to what you ask for, it responds to what you vibrate, what energy you're putting out into the world, whether it's through your emotions, your mindset, or your internal state. That's where silence comes in. Silence allows you to align your internal world with the energy you want to manifest. When you quiet your mind, when you stop chasing distractions and external validation, you create space to tune into the energy of what you truly desire. Let me give you an example. Think about a time when you've been in a rush, overwhelmed, stressed, or just scattered. During those moments, you're not exactly thinking clearly, are you? You're reacting, bouncing from one thing to the next, allowing the chaos of the world to dictate your mood, your thoughts, and your actions. In that state, you're not in alignment with what you truly want. You might say you want peace, success, or love, but the energy you're giving off is the opposite of those things. You're giving off the energy of stress, of lack, of rushing, and that's exactly what you'll attract more of. On the other hand, when you step into silence, whether through meditation, mindful breathing, or simply sitting quietly with your thoughts, you create the perfect environment to align with the frequency of your desires. In that space of calm, you can clearly define what you want, feel it in your body, and let it resonate within you. When your thoughts and feelings are aligned with your desires, the universe responds. That's the law of attraction in action. Silence helps you tap into the deepest parts of yourself. It's in the quiet moments when you connect with your inner wisdom, your true desires, and your purpose. It's in the stillness that you're able to hear the whispers of your intuition, guiding you toward the next step. But without that silence, you're simply going through the motions, reacting to whatever is in front of you, without ever truly aligning with what you want. Have you ever noticed that the best decisions you've made, those moments when you felt truly clear and at peace, were often the ones that came after a period of quiet reflection? That's because, in those moments, you were in alignment with your inner self. You weren't distracted by the noise of the world, by your worries, or by other people's opinions. You were fully connected to your truth, and from that place, you were able to attract the right opportunities, people, and circumstances into your life. When you live in a constant state of noise, whether it's external or internal, you can't hear the signals the universe is sending you. You can't recognize the opportunities that are already there. But silence changes that. Silence opens up the channels of communication between you and the universe. It allows you to hear your inner voice, to feel the energy of what you desire, and to align with it at a deeper level. It's not enough to just want something. You have to feel it, believe it, and align with it. Silence gives you the space to do that. It's like turning down the volume on everything else in your life, so that you can hear the music of your own desires. The more you practice silence, the clearer your desires will become, and the easier it will be to manifest them. You'll begin to notice synchronicities, opportunities, and signs that guide you toward what you truly want. You'll become a magnet for the energy you're putting out into the world. This doesn't mean you have to be silent all the time, but rather that you need to create intentional moments of quiet in your life, where you can reconnect with your true desires and purpose. These moments of silence aren't just for meditation or spiritual practice, they're for everyday life. Whether you're making a decision, interacting with others, or simply reflecting on your goals, taking a moment to pause, breathe, and align yourself with the energy you want to attract can make all the difference. Think about it this way: if you're constantly distracted, overwhelmed, or caught up in the noise of life, you're essentially putting out a signal of chaos and disconnection. But when you embrace silence, you send out a clear, focused signal that aligns with what you want to attract. And as a result, the universe begins to respond in kind. The power of silence is that it allows you to consciously choose the energy you want to align with, rather than being pulled in every direction by external forces. It's the difference between living reactively and living intentionally. In a world that's constantly demanding your attention, silence gives you the space to choose your path, to align with your purpose, and to attract the things that truly matter. But here's the catch. Silence doesn't work if you're not truly connected to what you want. It's not just about sitting quietly and hoping for things to fall into your lap. You have to be intentional about your silence. You have to use it to connect with your desires, to visualize your future, and to align with the energy of what you want to attract. The more you practice this, the more you'll notice how the law of attraction works in your life. Things begin to fall into place with more ease, because you're no longer resisting the flow of life. You're aligning with it. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed or disconnected, take a moment to step into silence. Breathe, center yourself, and reconnect with your desires. Align your energy with the life you want to create. And watch as the universe begins to bring everything you've been asking for into your life, more effortlessly than you ever thought possible. In silence, you find the power to attract what you truly desire. You stop chasing, you stop forcing, and you allow the flow of life to bring you exactly what you need. The law of attraction isn't just about what you say or do, it's about what you align with, and silence is the key to unlocking that alignment. Chapter 8. Letting Go. Silence as a tool for acceptance and growth. We often think that the way to make progress in life is through force, through pushing, fighting, and constantly striving. But what if the key to real progress, to lasting growth, is actually in letting go? What if, instead of holding on tighter to our goals, our fears, and our expectations, we could achieve more by embracing silence and allowing life to unfold naturally? It's a difficult concept to grasp at first. We've been conditioned to believe that success comes through relentless effort, that we have to be constantly on the go, that we need to control every aspect of our lives to achieve our desires. But let's take a step back and look at it from a different perspective. What if the constant struggle, the stress, and the need for control are actually the things holding us back from real growth? Letting go doesn't mean giving up on your dreams or goals. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Letting go means releasing your attachment to the outcome. It means accepting that there are forces at play beyond your control and trusting that things will work out the way they are meant to. And in order to do this effectively, you need to tap into the power of silence. Silence isn't just about sitting quietly in a room or avoiding noise. Silence is a state of being, a mental and emotional space where you allow yourself to release the tension, the anxiety, and the constant need to control everything. It's in that space of stillness that you can find the clarity and peace you need to truly move forward. When we let go of our attachments, we stop resisting the natural flow of life. Instead of constantly striving, we start to align ourselves with the rhythm of the world around us. Imagine for a moment that you're floating down a river. You could try to swim against the current, fighting and struggling to get to where you think you should be. But the harder you fight, the more exhausted you become, and the less likely you are to reach your destination. Now imagine letting go and allowing yourself to be carried by the current. You're still moving forward, still making progress, but without the struggle. You're allowing life to guide you, trusting that the path you're on will lead you exactly where you need to go. This is what happens when you let go and embrace silence. You stop fighting and start flowing. But letting go isn't always easy. We've been taught to hold on to things tightly, whether it's our goals, our expectations, or our fears. We think that by holding on, we're ensuring our success. But in reality, it's often the act of holding on that keeps us stuck. When we cling to an outcome or an idea of how things should be, we close ourselves off to new possibilities. We limit our potential by holding on to something that may no longer serve us. This is where silence becomes so powerful. Silence allows you to step away from the noise of your thoughts and the pressure of your expectations. It creates the space for you to reflect, to process, and to let go of what's no longer serving you. When you sit in silence, you're giving yourself permission to release the weight of the world and simply be. And in that stillness, you'll find the freedom to move forward in a way that feels effortless and natural. Think about a time when you've tried to force something in your life. Maybe it was a relationship, a career decision, or a personal goal. How did it feel? Chances are, it felt stressful, frustrating, and exhausting. No matter how hard you tried, things didn't seem to fall into place. You might have even felt like the harder you pushed, the further away your goal became. Now think about a time when you simply let go. Maybe you stopped worrying so much about a particular outcome, or you stopped forcing yourself to make things happen. Suddenly, things began to flow. Opportunities appeared out of nowhere, or situations started to resolve themselves with little effort on your part. This is the power of letting go. When you release your attachment to the outcome, you allow the universe to bring you what you need without resistance. The truth is, we're all in a constant state of growth, whether we're aware of it or not. Every moment is an opportunity for us to evolve, to learn, and to move closer to our true selves. But in order to grow, we need to stop resisting the process. We need to stop fighting against the natural course of events and trust that we are being guided to exactly where we need to be. Silence is the space where this trust can flourish. Letting go also means accepting what is, without judgment. Often we resist what's happening in our lives because it doesn't align with our expectations or desires. We fight against reality because it's not what we think it should be. But the more we fight, the more we create resistance, and the more stuck we become. Silence helps us to let go of this resistance and accept things as they are. It doesn't mean we're giving up, it means we're choosing peace over struggle. When we embrace silence and let go of our attachment to the outcome, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. We become more open to the flow of life, more willing to accept change, and more able to move with the rhythm of the world around us. And in that space of openness, we begin to attract the opportunities, people, and experiences that are truly aligned with our highest good. So, how do you start letting go? The first step is to embrace silence. Carve out time in your day to be still, to breathe, and to simply be present with yourself. Allow your thoughts to come and go without judgment. Don't try to control them or hold on to them, just let them pass. This practice of silence will help you release the grip you have on your thoughts and emotions, and it will create the space for you to trust the process of life. As you practice letting go, you may find that things begin to shift in your life. You'll notice that you're no longer struggling so hard, that things are flowing more effortlessly, and that you're attracting the right people and opportunities. It may not happen overnight, but with consistent practice, you'll begin to see the magic of letting go in your life. Letting go isn't about giving up, it's about trusting that the universe has a plan for you that's bigger and better than anything you could ever imagine. It's about surrendering to the flow of life and knowing that you don't have to do everything on your own. When you let go, you're not losing control, you're gaining freedom. And in that freedom, you'll find that you're able to achieve more than you ever thought possible, with less effort and less struggle. You'll find that life becomes easier, that opportunities show up when you least expect them, and that your desires come to you naturally. The power of silence and letting go is that it allows you to stop fighting against life and start flowing with it. In that flow, everything you need will come to you exactly when you need it. So, take a deep breath, let go of the need to control, and embrace the silence. Trust that the universe is working in your favor and that everything is unfolding as it should. The more you let go, the more life will flow in your favor. Chapter 9. Designing a life of flow through silence. Most people go through life believing they need to chase success, control every aspect of their day, and struggle against the current to get what they want. But what if I told you that everything you've been chasing can come to you with ease? What if the secret to reaching your greatest potential wasn't about pushing harder, but about allowing life to flow naturally? Imagine living a life where your actions are in sync with the universe, where you wake up and feel in tune with your purpose, where your goals don't feel like burdens, but like natural extensions of who you are. That's the power of designing a life of flow. Too often, we spend our days striving. We have lists, routines, goals, and deadlines. We've been taught that success comes from relentless effort, constant movement, and never letting up. But what if those things aren't enough? What if there's a better way, a more peaceful, more aligned way to achieve your desires? This is where the concept of flow comes in. Flow is not just about being productive. It's about being in harmony with the world around you, trusting that what's meant for you will come to you when the time is right. Designing a life of flow means creating an environment and mindset where things come together with less effort and more alignment. Think of it like trying to swim in a river. You could fight the current, paddle hard against it, and exhaust yourself, or you could let go, float, and allow the current to carry you to where you need to go. It's about choosing the path of least resistance, about stepping into the rhythm of life and letting it guide you. But to design such a life, you must first understand that flow isn't something that happens automatically. It's something you have to cultivate. And cultivating flow starts with creating space in your life, both mentally and physically, to receive what's meant for you. When your mind is cluttered with worry, fear, and overthinking, it's difficult for anything to flow. The first step in designing a life of flow is clearing that mental clutter and allowing yourself the freedom to simply be. One of the best ways to do this is by incorporating silence into your daily routine. Silence isn't just about physical quietness, it's about quieting your mind. It's about tuning out the noise of external distractions and internal chatter so you can hear the deeper wisdom within you. In those moments of stillness, you connect with your intuition, with your true self, and you gain clarity. Without this clarity, it's easy to get lost in the noise of everyday life, chasing after things that aren't aligned with your true desires. When you embrace silence, you begin to understand that the answers you've been seeking are already within you. You don't need to force your way into every situation. Instead, you can take a step back, breathe, and trust that everything you need is already on its way to you. When your mind is still, you open up space for the flow of opportunities, ideas, and insights that are meant to guide you on your journey. But creating flow doesn't stop with your mind. You also need to create flow in your environment. Look around your home, your workspace, your daily routines. Is everything in its place? Is your environment cluttered or open? The energy in your space affects your own energy. A cluttered space often leads to a cluttered mind. When your surroundings are calm, organized, and aligned with your purpose, it becomes easier for you to align with the flow of life. The simple act of decluttering your space can make a huge difference in how easily things begin to fall into place. Once you've cleared both your mind and your environment, it's time to look at your goals. Often, we set goals because we feel like we should, because society tells us we need to achieve more, to climb higher, to get more. But real flow happens when your goals align with who you truly are, not who you think you should be. When you start setting goals that resonate with your heart, that feel right in your soul, you'll notice that progress starts to come more effortlessly. Things don't feel forced. They feel like they're unfolding as they should. But how do you align your goals with your true self? Start by tuning into your feelings. How do you feel when you think about a particular goal? Does it excite you, or does it fill you with dread? Is it something you truly desire, or is it something you think you should want? The more you can identify goals that genuinely resonate with you, the more effortless it will be to work toward them. You'll stop forcing yourself into the motions and start moving naturally toward what you're meant to do. This process of alignment isn't always instant. It takes time, reflection, and patience. But as you begin to design a life that's aligned with your true self, you'll notice that things just start to fall into place. Opportunities show up at the right time. The people you need to meet come into your life effortlessly. You feel at ease with your choices, trusting that you're on the right path. In this process, it's essential to stay present. Flow happens in the present moment. If you're constantly thinking about the future or dwelling on the past, you miss the magic happening right in front of you. When you focus on the present moment, you begin to notice the small miracles, those little moments that are guiding you exactly where you need to go. Life begins to feel less like a series of tasks to complete and more like a beautiful journey to experience. The more you practice being present, the easier it becomes to live in flow. When you're fully immersed in the now, you're not bogged down by worries about what might happen tomorrow or what you should have done yesterday. You're fully engaged in what's happening right now, and it's in that space of presence that flow becomes natural. Everything you do becomes effortless. Everything you encounter becomes part of your journey. As you design your life of flow, one thing is certain: it won't look like anyone else's life. Your flow is unique to you. It will unfold in its own time and in its own way. And that's the beauty of it. When you let go of the need to compare yourself to others, when you stop measuring your success by someone else's standards, you create a life that's completely aligned with your true purpose. Your journey becomes your own, and you move through it with ease. The power of flow is that it allows you to live with intention without the struggle. It helps you move through life in harmony with the universe, trusting that everything you need will come to you exactly when you need it. It teaches you that you don't have to fight for your dreams. You simply need to be in alignment with them. When you are, everything you desire will flow effortlessly into your life. So, design your life of flow. Create space in your mind, your environment, and your goals. Let go of the need to control, to force, to strive. Instead, trust that the universe is always working in your favor, and when you align yourself with that flow, everything you want will come to you naturally. Let go of the struggle, step into the flow, and watch how everything starts to fall into place. Chapter 10. The Quiet Mastery. Making silence a way of life. What if I told you that the secret to living an extraordinary life, the life you've always dreamed of, doesn't lie in doing more, but in doing less? Sounds counterintuitive, right? We're told constantly that success is about pushing yourself harder, achieving more, and grinding through every obstacle that comes your way. But what if everything you truly desire in life, success, happiness, fulfillment, can come to you by simply embracing the art of quiet mastery? This concept may seem foreign to many, especially in a world where loud voices and constant action seem to be celebrated above all else. Yet, there's a quiet power within us, a power that comes not from doing more, but from mastering the art of doing less and allowing life to unfold in its own time. This is the magic of silence. It's not just about turning off the noise around you, but about cultivating a stillness within that allows everything to fall into place effortlessly. Mastery doesn't come from pushing harder or trying to control every outcome. It comes from allowing. It's about stepping into a space where your actions are in alignment with your deepest desires and purpose, where you trust the process of life and let go of the need to constantly steer the wheel. When you learn to embrace the quiet moments, when you allow silence to guide you, you unlock a power that transcends anything you could achieve through sheer effort alone. But let's take a moment to talk about what it really means to practice quiet mastery. In many ways, we've been conditioned to believe that action equals progress. We're taught to move, to strive, and to never stop. And while hard work certainly has its place, it's only through the balance of action and stillness that we truly find our power. When you're constantly in motion, you're at the mercy of external forces. But when you step into silence, when you allow yourself to be still, you become the creator of your own reality. In the stillness, you begin to access a deep well of wisdom, intuition, and clarity that you simply cannot find when you're consumed by the noise of the world. It's in those quiet moments that you connect with your inner self, with your true desires, and with the energy that flows through you and the universe. This is where you find the strength to make choices that align with who you truly are, not who you think you should be. This is where true mastery begins, not in controlling every aspect of your life, but in trusting that when you allow space for silence, you're opening the door to a life of alignment and flow. Quiet mastery also means learning how to be present. In a world filled with distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what's important. We get caught up in the future, constantly thinking about what's next, or we get stuck in the past, replaying mistakes and regrets. But mastery is not found in the past or the future, it's found in the present moment. When you can learn to be fully present, you begin to experience life in its truest form. You no longer feel the need to rush, to chase, or to prove yourself. Instead, you allow life to unfold naturally, step by step, moment by moment. When you embrace quiet mastery, you also learn the importance of non-attachment. Attachment to outcomes, to people, to possessions, to success. These are the things that keep you tethered to the world of noise and struggle. When you let go of attachment, you free yourself to live fully in the moment, knowing that everything you need is already within you. Non-attachment doesn't mean you stop caring about your goals or desires. It means you let go of the need to control every aspect of them. You trust the process, trust the timing, and trust that what's meant for you will always find its way to you. The beauty of quiet mastery is that it's a practice, not a destination. It's a way of being, a way of living, that requires you to slow down and embrace the power of silence in every aspect of your life. It's about learning to listen to the whispers of your intuition, to the guidance that comes when you allow space for stillness. It's about choosing to let go of the pressure to always be doing, and instead focusing on being present, being aligned, being in flow. This doesn't mean you stop taking action. In fact, it's the opposite. When you embrace quiet mastery, you take more deliberate and intentional action. You move with purpose, knowing that your actions are aligned with your highest good. You don't feel the need to force anything to happen. Instead, you trust that when you're in alignment with your inner self, the universe will meet you halfway and open doors that you never thought possible. Living a life of quiet mastery doesn't mean you shut yourself off from the world. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When you embrace silence, you begin to connect more deeply with the people around you, with nature, and with the world as a whole. You become more attuned to the energy of those around you, more aware of the subtleties in your environment, and more present in your relationships. You stop living on autopilot and begin to engage with life in a more meaningful way. It's in this space of quiet connection that you can create the most profound impact, not through force, but through the quiet, intentional energy you bring into every moment. The key to quiet mastery is learning how to trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust that when you allow life to unfold naturally, you will be exactly where you need to be at the perfect time. When you release the need to control, you open yourself up to the endless possibilities that exist within the silence. You stop fighting against the current and instead allow yourself to flow with it, knowing that wherever you go, you will